Yo, yo, yo. Okay, people. Is that sound working? Let me know. Let me know if there's any sound problems. Anyone who's still here, let me know. It's good now. Thank you. Thanks, team. Thank you so much. Okay, it's 8:03. We're going to give it to around 8:06 to see if there's anyone else in here, and then we can get going. In the meantime, if you've joined the chat and you fancy talking, let me know where you're from. Are you a student? Are you a young professional? Are you an older architect? Who are you, people? Let's get to know one another. What is up? And let's get some questions going so that when we kick off, we can go. And in the meantime, I'm just going to post here on Instagram that we're live. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So bear with me. Just going to post this quickly here. I'm glad the sound is good. I got this microphone this year, and I have to be honest, it has not been amazing. And I don't even know if you guys can see it. And that's the other thing. What's the point getting this mic, if you can't see the mic? What's that about, right? It's all about flex and authority. Having a microphone. I'm just going to share this quickly. Welcome, peeps. If you're just joining, say hello. Don't be shy. We're all friends here, I hope. But the night is young. Let us see. Are you working late tonight, people? Oh, Switzerland. Very nice. Nice to meet you. Oh, yeah, in Raha, Middle East, senior student. I am also a senior student in many ways, believe it or not. I feel like a senior student. Who else we got in the chat? Introduce yourself. Don't be shy. Got to take that selfie, post it on the story, and then we'll get going. Welcome, people. Oh, we've got 8 people here. Okay, it's going well. It's going well. It's definitely going better than the time I played Elden Ring and there was just me playing it. It's going decent. Just sharing the link here on Instagram, people, and we'll kick off. Part 3 student in Manchester. Very cool, very cool. Love Manchester. Love Manchester. Hate Manchester United, but love Manchester. Don't take it personally. One second, I'm going to share this here. Okay, people, that is it. 8:06. Let's get going. Okay, so let's see who we got here. We have Desan from earlier. Was going to take a break to watch some amazing content and then back to the sketchpad. I hope you're talking about my content being amazing content. No pressure, obviously, but appreciate it. So Desan, welcome if you're here. Raha, we have spoken. Guys, first of all, thanks very much for joining. Second of all, thanks for keeping me good on the sound because I wouldn't have noticed and I would have just spoken to myself for the next hour without catching on. So much appreciated. Okay, so Raha, we have Raha Karan from the Middle East, senior student. I too am a senior student. Son in study, if I'm saying that correctly, Switzerland, on my 4th year of apprenticeship as an architectural draftsman. That's really interesting. Yeah, I want to talk about that in a minute. We have Hari Kershaw, part 3 student in Manchester. Only the interview to go in a couple of weeks. Oh, that is a tough grind. I did my part 3 a couple of years ago, and I can absolutely say part 3 is a tough time. So I hope you're getting through it okay. Desan, student here from South Africa. More of a get the convo rolling question. How would you look for precedents for post-war stuff, like how architecture changes after conflict? That's a good question. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. Trent Allen, watching on my phone data, got a limit of 1 gigabyte. Hope it lasts. Also, second-year architecture student from South Africa. I go to the same school as Desan. Okay, so Trent, Desan, I think I actually remember you, Trent, from the last live stream a couple of months ago. Welcome. If you have a question and you're worried about your data, fire in the question now. I'll try and get it before your data cuts out. I hope that's okay, but I appreciate you wasting your data on me. Okay, great. But I hope I can actually give you a bit of value here while we're together. Oh yeah, Raha, good tip. Play it on 144p. I mean, like I can see it on my end. There's no way anyone needs to see my face in 4K. So yeah, just lowest quality possible. And remember, if you don't want to ask a question, you just want to follow along the conversation, this will be available after the show ends. It'll be posted on as a video. So you can go back and watch it. The chat should be available then as well. So I hope that's helpful. Housekeeping before we get stuck in proper. You may see the notification in the chat that I turned off subscribers only for the conversation. I don't know why I really had that on. I think what I was hoping was if you really wanted to ask me a question, you could just sub to the channel. Then I realized that was just pretty terrible for everybody. So what does that mean? All I'm asking is that if you're here and you haven't subbed to the channel, just give me a little sub, give me a little like. Let's keep the conversation going at the same time. That's all I want. You may also notice that this stream will be monetized. That means some of you might get an ad roll, but I have limited those ad rolls down to the very bare minimum, so they shouldn't be too intrusive. So again, apologize about that, but I'm still figuring out the live stream thing because I did my first live stream back in June. And a lot of you guys showed up for it and it was amazing. And then the plan was to do one of them every single week. Then I pivoted into Architects Gamer Club, which I will bring back. Then the summer just took over and consumed me with client work. And I really just desperately wanted to get back to doing this. So this is episode 2 of CRUMCAST, but it's really sort of like the real first one. So the first one back in June was like the pilot, and now we're going to get going. So really, why am I giving you all the context of that? This is something I want to do. At the minute, I want to do it weekly. I think realistically it'll be bi-weekly because Architect Gamer Club is still happening. So I might just have to alternate the streams. And I don't know if anybody found onto this link today through Instagram, but the plan for the channel going forward is that there will be weekly videos and weekly streams, and the streams are going to alternate between CRUMCAST, which is this Q&A, chatting with architects and students, and then the other stream will be the games, because I just love games. So I want to play games and I want to meet architects who also play games and chat about it. So that's all good. So having said that, this is Sonnen Studio. I've had to make a YouTube channel to make a sun study of a project. So I named it Sonnen Study, which means sun study in German. That's why I don't have my name on it. That's cool. Like, no one here needs to have their name. I mean, absolutely introduce yourself, but don't worry. I mean, there was a version of this channel when before I was afraid to go on video, and I think it was like some anonymous name, and I don't know. And also, you know, the anonymous name's good because you control me then, and if you really hate my content, you can let me know about it, and I'll never find out who you are. But Sonnen Studio Study, I'm on to you now, so all good. Okay, so let's get into the questions here. I'm going to try and get these in order. If I've missed one or if I've missed yours, just call me out and I will get to it. So the first question that we have here is from Disan. Okay, again, yeah, student from South Africa. Nice to meet you again. More of a get the conversation rolling question. How would you look for precedents for post-war stuff? Like how architecture changes after conflict? That's a good question. And the first thing that comes to mind is the city of Rotterdam, which is a super interesting case study in how a European city, a large European city, can just entirely transform as a result of, you know, war and conflict, to the point where I think we visited Rotterdam as part of a study trip when I was a student. Well, I know that we did, but I think we did out of interest because the city has like very little of its architecture left pre-war. So the city was entirely bombed. And you know what? I'm going to be a good host here and just double check that, fact check it, because I want to got to keep me honest here. But Rotterdam is amazing because so if you visit Rotterdam, it's like 99% like a 20th century city in a weird way. And that's where you get all those big fancy Dutch architects taking over, building their fancy skyscrapers and their cool design. So just, sorry, not great content here. I'm just double checking this. Just checking. Yeah, so Rotterdam was decimated essentially during the Blitz. The entire historic center of Rotterdam was destroyed. And from what I'm reading here on google.com, because I should know this, 85,000 people were left homeless. And obviously that led to a series of obviously a long period of redevelopment, which is sort of interesting. I'm not sure though specifically, Destin, if I've answered your question. You just made me think of Rotterdam, and I just rambled for a bit. Rotterdam's like an amazing city. Like I recommend anyone go there if they get the opportunity. I actually worked there for a bit, and I'm only just remembering that now. I actually worked in Rotterdam. Oh yeah, son and study. It's funny that you say that. I just visited Rotterdam to study as part of a student trip too. Yeah, I mean it's an insanely cool city. We stayed in the Cube hostels. I don't know if anybody knows that project. I think it's by the architect Piet Bloom. One of like the trippiest architectural experiences I've ever had was in Rotterdam. I basically accidentally ate a magic brownie while staying in that hotel. And it was like living out The Shining in real time. It was probably one of the most interesting but scary experiences I've ever had. Um, I wonder if there's a way to share my screen here, guys. Check out Cube Houses by, I think it's Piet Bloom. Check it out if you can. It's super cool project. It's one of those projects where you're like, how does this even work? It's a motel. Yeah. It's a, yeah, I don't know how would you describe it? I think it's like people live in it. So it's obviously a residence. And then part of it is a hotel or a hostel, and then part of it is like it's like mixed use development. But it's amazing. I'm just gonna fact check that one as well. 1 second. But again, Destin, back to your original questions about references. I mean, Rotterdam in itself is a really good reference. So look into Rotterdam. That's one. Who is that architect? Chat, let me know if I'm wrong here. Yeah, it is Piet Bloom. Okay, cool. Good. Got it. Nailed it. Hostel. Yeah, it's a hostel. Yeah, absolutely. Klon just joined. Oi, just a quick shout out from Zagreb, Croatia. Found your content randomly on YouTube. Super refreshing to see an honest perspective of our Oompa Loompa profession. That is an interesting way of describing the profession of architecture. Honest perspective. I always hope that it's an honest perspective. Because I just sort of just say what I think about it. Like I do my best, and I know I get called out a lot for being cynical or for being miserable or whatever. It's like nah, it's legit. Like I'm not. It is what it is. I only know my experience. When people like to disagree and say that they've had a different experience, I like to say good for you. And if you're passionate about it, go make videos about your experience. There's no lies here. There's no lies. Oompa Loompa profession. Interesting. I'm assuming in this metaphor, it is us. We are the Oompa Loompas. And it is the owners who are the Willy Wonkas. But why can't we be Charlie Buckets? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why can't we take over the factory? Why can't we inherit the factory? Ever think about that? Maybe maybe we don't need the Oompa Loompas? I don't know. But now I want chocolate. Look what you've done. Great meeting you, Klon from Zagreb, but now I want chocolate. All good. Destin, sorry, I don't know if you can see this. I'm losing track here. We were talking about post-war architecture, Rotterdam. Check out Rotterdam. There's enough references in there to get the ball rolling. But keep talking. We can get back to that. No problem. What else have we got on here? I know there was another question. We're talking about sun studies. Oh, Eshan. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly. I hope I am. Eshan. I am an architecture student, and for this semester design, we're doing a design college, and my approach is deinstitutionalization and anti-monumental architecture. I'm having a hard time realizing it. I think that's a common problem regardless of what the brief is, generally speaking. Do you have any more specifics about the project, what it is specifically that you're struggling with? Because what you seem to be describing is a common problem amongst architecture students. Feel free to fire in some more details about it, and I'll try and get back to you. But what I'm thinking off the top of my head is research is always, in my opinion, the best way to unlock a project. So that's a good place. Research. And then you might even learn that you don't even need a building at the end of it, and you didn't have to realize anything at all. So I'm seeing it now. It's a college of architecture. 2 more fields. I'm choosing industrial design and communication design, non-residential. Is this part of the brief, or are you just talking generally about what you're studying? Captain in the chat here, Desan, you should check out Lebius Wood's proposal for Sarajevo. Yeah, super cool stuff. Big time. Big fan of Lebius Woods. Amazing drawings, incredible architect. Don't think he ever actually built anything. Don't think he really cared. I'm all about it. It's all good. Probably a better architect than 95% of the architects that have existed in the last 100 years. Controversial topic. If you disagree, let me know in the chat. But some architects can say much more by building nothing than most of the architects who spend a career building things that turn out to be junk. Not calling anyone out there specifically. Eshin again, yes, it's part of the brief we are given. This time we are focusing on passive strategy. Well, the ultimate passive strategy is to build nothing. And that's usually my first response whenever I'm talking to anyone about a building. Do you need the building? Do you actually need the building? Are you sure you don't just need, a better system, a better culture? Maybe, I don't know. I know that's not helping you. I know you can't just rock up with no building and say some guy on the internet said it would be better to not do it. I get it. I get it. Elon, welcome to the chat. Bom dia, Cahal. Hello from Lisbon. I hope Portugal is treating you well, and I hope practice is treating you well, and I hope everything's going good, Elon, my man. Thanks for joining. Hang around if you've got the time. Get some questions in. We can chat. Back to Ishan here. Sorry, I am going to take your question seriously. You're having problems realizing it, but you understand the brief. So really, I would just research the brief, challenge the brief, and usually projects can emerge from that. It doesn't always have to start with a pen and paper. The worst thing you can sometimes do with a student project is be willful and to enforce your vision of architecture onto a brief. You sort of should work for the brief. Do you know what I mean? Like, let the brief lead you. Ashan, that is so valid, man. I wish I didn't have to build more. I believe we already have enough buildings. The site is given to us by the faculty and we have to build something. Well, then that's okay. I mean, that's your excuse. Like, not that you need an excuse. It's okay. Love buildings too, but usually that's my first position. Even if I meet a client who's looking to hire me, it's like, do you need that though? Chat, maybe you're familiar with your own version of this story, but I love telling this story. So we were told this in architecture school, and I think this story, if it's true or not, I don't know, but it really unlocks something for me in architecture, which was an architect was hired to design a new school. So when they met the client in the school. The client said they needed a larger school with more corridors because the problem that the school was having was that when the classes emptied out in between classes or at lunchtime, the corridors were so congested and it was a really uncomfortable experience for teachers and for students. So they wanted a bigger school basically so that congestion didn't happen. And the architect was sent away to put together a proposal for the project. And their proposal was not a building. Instead, it was just a synchronized system for the bells so that the bells all ran out of sync so that each class could exit the classroom at different times. And they didn't get the job, but the school didn't need a new building either. So I don't know if that's useful. What I'm getting at. Sometimes just because there's money for a building doesn't mean that a building's a solution. Like, buildings aren't really solutions more often than not. They're usually tools for profit. I think that's the sad truth today. And that's okay as well. Like, if you've got the money, spend it. But Ishan, like, I feel like I'm not helping you here at all. Can you write the Lebius Woods reference you just mentioned? I missed it. It should be in the chat. Can you see it? I read it from the chat. Yeah. Yeah, Captain, and thanks. A really good example of post-war rebuilding proposals. I mean, sorry, chat, like a really super obvious, incredible project, probably one of the best projects in the world right now. The Noise Museum by David Chipperfield. I'm going to put that in the chat. Yeah, that's like an incredibly sensitive restoration project. Absolutely check that one out if you're not familiar with it. Feel like there's like multiple conversations going here at once, but that's okay. All good fun. I have missed something here, guys. So keep me honest. If I do skip over your question or I've missed it, just remind me here. I appreciate it. Raha, will you be reviewing more competition entries? So yes. So I'm assuming a lot of you who follow me on here follow Rebecca and I on the Future Blueprint. So shout out to Rebecca and shout out to the Future Blueprint. If you guys don't know what that is, check it out now. We have an Instagram and we have a YouTube channel, and I do it with Rebecca, who I studied with. Rebecca teaches architecture at UCD Dublin, and she's awesome. So do check it out. But what I'm getting at here is, will I be reviewing more competitions? Well, the Future Blueprint and I have hosted our own competition this summer. We have already started the video reviews of the entries. We got 60 entries, which was way more than we imagined. And we have been slowly getting through them as video reviews. I think Rebecca's editing the first third today. So I think we've done 20. They're amazing, super exciting. We don't know what our posting schedule is. But to answer your question, yes, we're reviewing the competition entry for our competition, the alternative proposal for the Queen Elizabeth II Bridge competition, whatever it's called. And Helsinki has ended. All of you know that. I'm sure all of you know that by now. The Helsinki competition is what got me a start on YouTube. It's probably why I'm sitting here now. But I have not actually reviewed the 5 finalists. And we've had that information for a long time, and I just haven't done it. Because I have to be really honest, I'm bored. I'm bored to death of that competition. I was invited recently to speak on a Finnish radio channel about it, and I still haven't scheduled it because I just don't have the energy to talk about Helsinki anymore. The 5 shortlisted projects were incredible. The winner wasn't my favorite, but I don't really have any complaints. Personally, I think the competition was stupid. I've said that a few times. I've been a bit salty about that on Instagram. I'm saying it to you lovely people here today. That competition was stupid. I don't agree with it. I am glad I didn't enter it. I feel bad for a lot of the people who did enter it with the right intentions. But I'm also delighted for the winners, because what an incredible achievement. But I do have a problem with architecture competitions. Anybody who's been following me for the last year knows that I have a problem with architecture competitions. And that's not sour grapes, because I win architecture competitions. So I say that as someone who has benefited from them as well. Like, I don't, that's not where I'm coming from. But will I be reviewing more? Maybe not 623. I don't think I'll ever do that again. But if there's like a nice clean competition where there's like 5 shortlisted ones, I'd give that a go. A little 30-minute episode, give my thoughts on it. Because I don't feel like I offer that much insight into them, but people seem to generally enjoy it as a piece of entertainment, which is really interesting to me. And like, I can just talk about anything to death. If you've been following along here on the stream, you'll know that. So yeah, maybe if the right opportunity comes up, I will. What have we got up here? So yeah, Raha, that was you. Ishan, I can come back to you. I know you're still talking in the chat. I'm just going to try and get through these one after the other. Sun and Study. Sorry, I cannot say that at all. Terrible. Sun Study. That's what I'm going to call you. So ignorant. Do you think one day the job as an architect is going to disappear? Since I feel like since modernism, all the buildings almost everywhere seem to look the same. I agree. I agree completely, Sun Study. And I think the profession is having a real moment right now where it's reckoning. It's really trying to discover itself again. And I'm not saying that as a hater. It's just the vibe that I'm picking up on. Because I just think, rightfully, in a lot of ways, we're so heavily regulated now that there's just not a lot. Well, this is the thing, right? I was listening to a fantastic podcast this week. If anyone is familiar with the Broke Architect podcast by Jason Boyle, if you're familiar with it, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with it, check it out. I'm going to put it in the chat here, guys. Trust me, I'm making a point here. So this podcast is fantastic. It's really, really, really good. If you're discovering it for the first time, you will find that Rebecca and I were guests on it this year. Jason's top guy. Really cool. Great podcast. Check it out. But I was listening to an episode of this recently, and forgive me. I'm so sorry. I will think of the name of the guest who was on it. It's escaping me right now. And the point that this architect was making was that we need to stop selling architectural services as hashtag drawings. Like, we don't do drawings. Like, we do drawings, but that's not what we do. We don't make models. We do make models, but that's not what we do. Um, we are we should be expert generalists. Like, it's a cringy metaphor. I hate it. It is cringy. But if you think of an orchestra, the architect is the conductor. They're the lead consultant. They're the design consultant. They are responsible for everything that everyone else does. All the other specialist professions funnel into the architect's role on a project. And we're not paid enough for that responsibility, in my opinion. We're not paid enough for the stress and that work that requires. And we're also not respected enough for it. But I also don't think architects help themselves when the image they like to give to the public is the roll neck and the black rimmed glasses and the pretentious archy speak. I love archy speak, but I'm self-aware. I know that it's archy speak. I say it for fun sometimes because I like words and I like to read. I like to read books just like everyone else. But what I'm getting at is that everything's starting to look the same because architects don't really have the control that they used to have. Like, the role has been diminished and diluted and watered down to the point where we're taking on all the responsibility, we're taking on all the liability, we're running the projects, we're paid nothing. Of course, it's going to be the safest, most conservative thing that we can get through planning, that we can get the client to accept, because everyone's got to eat, everyone's got to get money, everyone's got to get paid. So then you have to ask well, then why are some architects still able to do it? And the answer to that is money. Private investment. They're getting money from somewhere. They're being funded to develop these luxury, wonderful projects. And you know what? Good for them. Good for them. Like, that's a good thing. Like, because I don't want a world where we don't. Okay, I'll be careful here. I don't want a world where we don't have architects either. Do you know what I mean? Like, because if it's not for them, there's some buildings that would never be built. Like, say what you want about it, but like, I'm glad every one of Frank Gehry's buildings exist, whether you like it or not. They're amazing. Like, they're marvels in engineering and art and architecture and design and construction. The problem is that so many people go to architecture school on the idea that it's a meritocracy and that if you work hard enough, you could do that. And you know what? Maybe some of you will, and great. Maybe I will. I don't know. But most architects who practice won't be doing that. And I think that should be made clear to people quite young. But maybe then you're just being miserable and jaded, and maybe I'm just coming off like an old man. What do you think, chat? Sorry, I think I'm talking too much about that subject. What I'm getting at is, do I think the role though will disappear? Yeah, I do. I think there's too many. There's too many architects doing too much of the same work, and a lot of the role could be automated. But an AI will never be able to replace an architect. I stand by that thoroughly. There's just no way, because there's so much soft skill involved in architecture. Like I said, we don't just draw, we don't just make models, we don't just do BIM models. Like, it's I don't know. I have a friend who started a practice recently, and he said he wasn't getting any work until he realized that we're not in the architecture business, we're in the people business. And if you don't got the people skills, you're going nowhere. So I don't think AI is going to replace that. And even in my experience in professional practice, like, it's negotiating, it's mediating. Do you know how to send an email? Because say what you want, ChatGPT doesn't know how to send an email. Like, do you know how to send the right email with the right tone to the right individual based on a prior conversation without getting sued? You know, that's the game. And I think the role is going to change. I think we're going to see so much more automation. You're a drafts person, Sun Studio, I believe. You're training to become a drafts person. That's amazing. I mean, that's a skill. I've no idea what's going to happen to that role. No idea. But I do argue that drafts people and technicians offer more value than a lot of actual architects do. I think there are too many architects, and I include myself in that. I don't think, I don't think I'm worthy. I just think there's too many architects. But I don't know. You're saying there, Sun Studio, at the start of my apprenticeship, I thought I will also be a architect after I finish all my studies. But now I feel like I'm doing architecture because of a way different reason. As long as you have a reason, go for it, do it. I say that to everyone. It's when you don't know why you're doing it, and then you realize that you're not getting paid very well, and you're stressed out, and you're like, but why am I doing this? You don't know. Then that's why a lot of people check out, and that's okay. How are we doing here, people? How are we doing in the questions? So sorry. Let's see what we got here. Captain, also worth mentioning is his proposal for the Einstein space tomb. I assume we're still talking about Lebbeus Woods. Almost 20 people here in the chat. If you've just joined, say hello, get your questions in. Welcome. I hope you can follow along with my incoherent rants about architecture. I'm doing my best here to chat to the people in the chat. But I was about to read out a question here. Ishan again. Do you have any references to tackle humanist anti-monumental approaches or any readings? Material will do a great help for me. Chat, can you help me out with that one? Just because nothing's coming to mind here right away. I'll come back to you, Isha. And Trent Allen, what should we include in our primer page for presentation? When you say primer page, do you mean like references, like the projects that have inspired you? Is that sort of what you mean? I can come back to that. Sun Studio, if you believe your city already has enough buildings, have you studied your city's zoning plan? I mean, I wasn't speaking about any specific city. I'm just speaking about development in general. And what I sort of mean by that is we have so much existing built stock that could be reused that we ignore. And that's because there's no tax incentives to reuse and not demolish. So clients and developers come in and they're like, whoosh, wipe it out, turn it into I don't know, high-rise development of luxury housing for people who aren't even going to live there. I'm going to try and get positive chat. Sorry. But then again, yeah, I mean, those zoning plans, they're going to have to be relaxed at some point, right? Because I don't know, I can't speak for all of Europe, but we need housing. We need more housing. We don't need more shopping centers or luxury hotels, but we're getting those anyway. But oh well. Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, Sun Studio. You were replying to Asian, so I'll let you guys battle it out in the chat there. Disan, thanks. The main idea was coming from an understanding of culture and shifting between identity, as my current brief is a community center. The idea of a space like this is still hard for some of the, I think your chat wrote off, oh, it's back. Some of the older generations don't feel safe to use it in the sense that they don't go in the old white areas. So trying to find a revitalization project is a challenge I'd like to learn from others. I can't think of a project necessarily, but where I'm from in Ireland could be a relevant case study. Now, I'm not going to equate where I'm from to what with apartheid in South Africa, if that's what you're mentioning, Destin, specifically. But I mean, yeah, like I grew up in areas where there were areas that were not safe to be in, but I don't know if architecture is the solution to that problem. That's sort of what I was touching on earlier. I think as architects, we like to think, I can't remember, you know, the butterfly meme, is this architecture? I like to use that. Oh, can architecture fix this systemic social problem? Because as architects, we love to think that. We love to think that architecture will fix it. A building will fix it. And it probably won't. It probably won't. Culture can solve these problems. Systemic change can solve these problems. Policy can solve these problems. A piece of architecture, probably not, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't still do something good, Desan. Sorry, I'm just rambling again. I'm really going off on one tonight. I'll come back to you, Desan. Sorry. Raha has said, funny enough, in my country, architects are listed as engineers and are controlled by an engineering authority. That's kind of cool. But they're not trained engineers, I'm assuming. Sorry, just trying to pick this up here. Sun Studio at the start, 20 people in the chat. Welcome, people. If you haven't introduced yourself, feel free to just jump in here. We're just We're all just getting into it. We're all just getting into it. You younger guys are just trying to fill me with positivity, and I'm trying to tell you that you're all wrong. I feel that's the vibe tonight. Sorry, but I will cheer up. Sun Studio. At the start of my apprenticeship, I thought I will also be a starchitect. I've read this already, haven't I? But now I feel like I'm doing architect. Okay, I have. In Switzerland, the system is different. After I finish my apprenticeship, I will do a recap of high school, which takes 1 year, and then I will start to study architecture. Okay, I know actually a lot of architects who are from Switzerland, and I really like the Swiss system. Really like the Swiss system in a lot of different ways. Competition system, planning system, education system. Like, maybe this is a stupid thing to say, this is based on my experience. I've never met an architect from Switzerland who wasn't a very good architect. Yeah. So I have faith in you, Sun Studio. I think you'll be fine. FIFA Dabber 01. Hello. Why do you think Arc Daily did what they did? That is an open-ended question, FIFA Dabber, because Arc Daily do many things. You could be talking of one of 1,000 things. I think I know what you're talking about, and I don't mind chatting about it, but just to double check, confirm in the comments for me there if you can. Otherwise, I'm just going to go off on Arc Daily, and that's not fair either. Trent Allen, primer page, meaning introduction to project, theories, concepts, design drivers, precedents. It's basically our advert page. Will that page be used in a portfolio, or will it be used in a crit? Because I don't think you really need that in a crit. I think you might need it in a portfolio. So I guess if your question is what should be included on it, personally, as little text as possible, as many images as you want, but the images need to tell a story on their own. That's sort of the skill sometimes in putting together presentation boards, in my experience. I can be more specific if you want to just ask me a bit more about it in a minute. Captain, you are carrying the chat here. You're helping people out where I cannot, so thank you. You're just reminding Ishan to check out Herzog de Meuron's hospital proposal in Denmark. And you have given that in the chat, so thank you very much. Thanks, Captain. Elon's here again. For a master plan we were working on in the office, the clients asked for presentations every 2 or 3 days. Hence, we hand drew the plan and used Midjourney to communicate a lot of the spaces. I can't say I liked it, but it was the only way we could communicate in that time. I thought it was interesting how AI was really necessary to work at that pace. It was a bit depressing. That's a really interesting anecdote, and it's something I 100% want to get into in a second. And now we've got FIFA Dabber back in the chat. I'm going to get you in a minute, FIFA Dabber. I have to say, Elon, I don't want to kill your enthusiasm for practice. That stinks. That stinks. Like, that's terrible. I'm not against Midjourney. I'm not the AI police. I'm not the AI police. And I'm not putting the words in your mouth, but I don't believe that was the only way that problem could have been solved. Don't know. Because it becomes a bit of a crutch then, doesn't it? When I worked in practice, we were working like, I don't know, it was like a 24-hour shift, right? Because we had a client deadline, and that happens. Okay, that happens sometimes. It shouldn't happen, but it does. And I was a part 2 architectural assistant, and I was working with a part 1, and the part 1 was talking to me, and we were like, we hadn't slept, we were exhausted, stressed out. And he said something to me. He said, it's crazy when you think about computers in architecture. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, well, computers, they were invented, right, so that humans would work less. And I was like, yeah. And then he said, but the computer has been exploited by owners of companies, and now humans are expected to produce more for the same amount of time. And I thought that was an interesting take. And in a lot of ways, AutoCAD has done that to the industry, and BIM has, where we work just as much as we ever worked, but now we are expected to produce more because of technology, when his idea was that technology was invented so that we would work less. Now, trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. That's what AI feels a bit like right now. So now with AI It's supposed to work for us, but we end up still working for it. So I think your practice might be setting a dangerous precedent there, because now your clients' expectations are going to be higher than ever. And I think once you open that, what's the expression? Once you can't put that genie back in the bottle in a professional context. Once a client now expects a certain thing of you, that's it. So I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough one. I think it's a really interesting philosophical position young architects are in right now. I'm obsessed with AI. Like, I think it's such a fascinating topic. I I do not use it for image generation. I do not use it for my work. I do not use it for art. But I'd be stupid to say I don't use ChatGPT. I'd be stupid. I'd be lying if I said, I don't use some form of AI now in my day to day life. But that's because ChatGPT can be useful. Um, but I don't know, chat. What do you guys think about this? Uh, do you want to work somewhere that wants to use Midjourney for image production? I don't know, because what's really interesting. Because sorry, Elon, because I know your work. I've looked at your portfolio. We haven't met, but I know your work. You're a part two, part one. I think you're a part two. Uh, Guys, AI is what's going to take those jobs, because a lot. You're a part one, Elon. Okay, part ones and part twos, part one specifically, they get hired because they can make beautiful images. Like, if I had to hire a part one tomorrow, I'd find someone who's got really good image making skills, because image making skills can win work, and it can help you with a client. It can win you a competition. It's a really useful ability to have. And if you're a part one and you're leaning into AI, then why are they hiring you? What are they hiring you for? Like, it's like, what's the expression? Turkeys voting for Christmas. Guys, like, and there are artists who I know who have had an entire career in art, like, let's say 20, 30 years being successful as artists, who have now just been like, oh, now I can use my art skills with AI and create a whole new type of art. And I think that's great, because you understand the fundamentals. You understand it. So you've went through it. You know what makes a good image. But if you're young, you don't know. You don't know. So to use AI then as a crutch, that's dangerous. Like, it's dangerous for you. You won't develop the way that you probably should. And I know that, because when I was a part one, I was a part two, I was an image guy, like, renders and 3D models and sketches and stuff. So sorry, Elon, I've just been ignoring your chat now. I'm just going on about it. Where are we? Yeah, your question is, if you were a student today, how do you think you'd use AI, or would you? I would do what I do right now. I would play with it. I would use it to entertain me occasionally. Sometimes I use it to make memes because it's funny. Not environmentally safe whatsoever. I'm embarrassed that I even admitted that, but sometimes I like to make a little AI image for fun. I don't think I would have used it as a student, because, if you want to talk about my days as a student, I remember once having to sit. This is how old I am. We used to have to sit engineering modules at Queen's, and I was terrible at maths and science, and I also just didn't study, and I never went to those classes, so I sort of deserved it. But I remember sitting in the exam and not being able to answer most of the questions, and I remember thinking, I've failed. I failed it, and I'm not going to get in. This was in first year. I remember thinking, I'm not going to get into second year. And I remember talking to my mom, and I was like, oh, I failed that. And she's like, but maybe you'll pass, maybe you'll scrape it. And I remember thinking, if I want to be an architect, because I did at the time, it doesn't help me for, like, the school to feel bad for me and let me into second year anyway. If I fail, it's because I'm not ready for second year. So I was prepared to take that on the chin. In other words, like, if you're not ready, you're not ready. And that's a good thing that you know that. So what I'm getting at is, like, if you need to use AI to pass, you're not ready, because there are idiots out there like me who passed without it. So that makes me think, how much of an idiot do you need to be to pass architecture school, to cheat, to do it? I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense, chat. I'm just going on here about it. But I think it would be a philosophical decision for me. When I was younger, I wouldn't have used it. In the same way that I wouldn't have cheated on an exam, or I wouldn't have wanted a sympathy pass, because architecture is competitive. And I know people who would have been sneaky about those things when I went to school, and they hit a wall eventually. They don't go any further in their career because the crutch doesn't work anymore. That's it. So, guys, if you're here and you're using it for your work and it's in your workflow, good for you. Make sure you're controlling that workflow and it's not controlling you. That's all I'll say about it. And Elon, just to sort of end on that, maybe it becomes a good thing for the practice and maybe you learn a lot. I have no idea. But to answer Sun Study's question from earlier, this is why like the architecture role is completely changing. I have no idea what it's going to be soon. But that's interesting. It's exciting. So let's see. Sorry, FIFA Dabber. I kept you on the hook there for a long time. I mean to talk about the ridiculous project access limit that Arc Daily have set in order to try and get money from students. So I made a video on this and I still haven't published it because like I said, it's been a very, very busy summer. But I have made a 20-minute rant about Arc Daily's decision to paywall their content behind a subscription service, which I think is despicable. But the thesis of my video, which I might release when I get some time to edit it, is that architecture is content now. That's what it is. And Arc Daily are just reading the writing on the wall. They know it. It's sort of like I can remember, right? I can remember, this is how old I am, when Facebook became what it is. Well, let's say when Facebook was good. So 2009, 2010, I was a first year, right? Facebook was so addictive because everyone was on it. Everyone was on it. And I remember thinking at the time, a day will come where we are so dependent on this social media platform and so addicted to it that Zuckerberg will decide to charge us and we'll pay it like mugs because we're addicted to it. And I think that time has already come. Like everything is a subscription model now. And architecture is a subscription model right now. Guys, if there's one thing I can guarantee you, if you're in the UK, when you qualify as an architect, guess what's waiting for you? A subscription model, because you have to pay a minimum of £200 every year to just maintain that title. Even though you've gone to university for the best part of a decade and have worked in practices for pennies up to that point just to qualify. I know there's a lad here who's doing his part 3 at the minute. I'm not trying to demotivate you. Keep going. You can do it. You've earned it. You'll do great. I'm just saying though, right, back to the Arc Daily situation, that was always coming. And this is what I'm really sad about. When I was a student, I used to go to the library. The university library had an amazing collection of architecture books. And chat, let me know now, because you're students, do any of you go to the library anymore? Does your university have a library with a good book collection for architecture? Because if it does, you never needed Arc Daily. Because personally, I never liked Arc Daily. I don't like the way their website works. I never liked the reference library. I always thought Pinterest was better, personally speaking. But to get back to your question, FIFA Dabber, disappointing, not surprising. Not surprising at all. I just hope no one here is paying the subscription because it's surely not worth it. It's surely not. But I did once make a video a while ago about how algorithms now are dictating our taste, the taste of architecture students. And like I said, like the library gave you autonomy. You could go look at whatever project you wanted. And sometimes then in a crit, you would see that like one of your students had a reference image up of a wall or a drawing of a plan that you'd never seen before. And you're like, oh, what's that? What's that? I mean, we're talking 10 years ago. It's not that long ago. Whereas now everyone knows the same projects. It's boring. It's why I made that video a while ago about the circular window. One architect did it. Now everyone does it. Boring. And that's all Arc Daily was giving us, really. Don't know, FIFA Dabber, if I've helped you out there. That's what I kind of think. I'm disappointed. I'm not surprised. But I'm happy to chat a little bit more about it. Let me see. I'm losing track of the chat here. Guys, if you're here and you've been here all along, introduce yourself, talk to people, get your questions in. I was planning to do this for 1 hour, but I'm feeling it, so I'm happy to just keep going for a little bit, as long as you're all happy to keep talking and asking questions. Where am I here? Sun Studio, it says your channel is located in Sweden. Is this true? Yes, sir. I am located in Sweden. But I'm from Ireland. Some people don't know that because my accent's a bit weird, because lived in like 5 different countries my whole life. Raha, in response to FIFA Dabber, just right click and open the image in a new tab quickly before the limit banner appears. Arc Daily, if you're monitoring this, I was just reading someone's message out there. Okay, those are not my thoughts and opinions. I'm not saying you should do that. Maybe you should. Elon, I think I might have answered that question already. I don't know if I've skipped it. Let me know if you still want me to talk on it. Sun Studio, I remember something that triggered me the other day that you said. You said you hate Revit. Not. Yes and no. I don't think, in the way that I was ranting earlier about how architects don't do drawings, I also believe architects aren't Revit. And I think there's a huge culture right now in the profession where architect who Revits is architect who is good. And I don't agree. And I say that as someone who has used Revit for 3 years in professional practice and was good at it. Could do it today if I wanted to. Don't want to. But it's a tool. Revit is a tool. And this is my gripe with Revit. It shouldn't be gatekeeping students from opportunities. Like, I think it's a little different now, but like, correct me in the chat, like, maybe there's a student license, but architects or students don't really use Revit, do you? Because Revit is a way of working, and you can see buildings that have been designed with Revit, and I'm sorry, I'll have this in the chat. They look poop. Like, you can see them. That is not the same thing as a building that has been designed by a practice who uses Revit. I'm talking about a building that has been designed in Revit. They are 2 different things. And Revit, like AI, can be a crutch for a lot of people. Now, people disagree. A lot of people conflated what I said in that video with, and I like to use this example, Twitter broke the day an individual tweeted that they loved pancakes, and the top comment response was, "Why do you hate waffles?" And that has just opened up the internet to me for what it is today. People will hear what they want to hear. Now, I don't know if it was this specific video, Sun Studio, but the video that I'm thinking of was, if you have to use Revit to design, then you're not a good designer. And a lot of the comments were really going off because they were like, not everything has to be a hand drawing. What if you can't sketch? What if you don't have hands? It's like, okay, like, that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is that if you need Revit to design a building, maybe you're not that good of a designer. I think that's a valid question. I don't know if anyone agrees or disagrees with that, but I think it's a conversation we should have, because I feel like Revit can control the architect much more than the architect can control Revit. It's incredibly limiting. And I think that's a really interesting conversation that I'm ready to have. So I don't hate it. If I got a client tomorrow and they were strict on the BIM requirements for the project, and they're like, we want this to be done in Revit, I would say, absolutely, partner, I'm your guy. And then I'd get people who want to do Revit to get involved in the project. But I don't think that's how you design it. It might be how you deliver it. It's not how you design it. But that's just a philosophical question. And maybe I'm just an old man. I don't know. I'm an uncle. I'm definitely an uncle for now, for sure. How are we doing? 22 people here. We really are getting more people in. So welcome. If you haven't said hello yet, please say hello and get your questions in, because I'm having a good time, as long as you guys are having a good time. Okay, Sun Studio. So sorry about that. I hope I clarified a little bit. Desan is saying, I think that I've separated the work of architecture from the production of the visual needs for submission. And I think that has helped me be okay with the increase of drawing versus CAD. So I don't quite understand that one. Maybe if you can clarify that a little bit for me, Desam. Oh, new person in the chat, vibing person. Hello, this may seem like a weird question, but as a second year architecture student, sometimes creating designs that deal with a different culture end up being symbolic rather than integrating it. Now you can correct me, vibing person, but if I'm understanding that correctly, is that sort of like, for example, an example I would use. Okay, here's the example I would use. Okay, because I'm Irish. Okay, so I don't know if anyone's familiar, but Stephen Hall won a massive competition a couple of years ago to design the new UCD campus, which is the University College Dublin campus in Dublin. Massive, prestigious project. And obviously, Stephen Hall is an American architect. And so I'm going to put this in the chat now just so people can check it out. And in this submission, so Trent, this one might be for you. In his primer page, he had 4 images, right? And it was something like the Giant's Causeway, the Celtic Cross, the map of Ireland, and a pint of Guinness equals the project. I'm being facetious. It might not have been that on the nose, but it was something like Irish culture plus Irish culture plus Irish culture equals architecture, and he won. And I remember thinking, I wasn't offended, but I was sort of insulted by the fact that an outsider could distill my culture into a diagram. So, vibing person, is that maybe what you're getting at? Where what you're saying is sometimes creating design that deal with different culture can end up being symbolic rather than integrated, in that we go for the symbolism of the culture rather than how the culture actually acts and behaves. Maybe, I don't know, but just follow up on that for sure. I hope I haven't just misinterpreted what you said. Sorry, I'm putting this into the chat. Oh, 23 people. We are growing. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Sorry, 1 second. I've lost track of the chat. Let me see where we are. Where are we? Oh, wow. I've really lost track of the chat. Maybe this is a lesson for me to stop rambling so much. Sound Studio, why should we not use AI? It's going to be the future. It helps a lot in the efficiency and things like searching things, analyzing things. It searches the whole internet. It's going to take away all jobs. I don't disagree. Like, I don't. But there is going to be a premium on human craft. That will absolutely happen. So I wouldn't neglect the crafted elements of architecture and design. A lot of us have. I have. As much as I like to talk about hand drawing and show hand drawings, I mean, I use an iPad. I use an Apple Pencil. The drawings look like hand drawings. The brain function is the same, but it's also not the same. Because if I make a mistake or I don't like something, I can undo it. The act of producing a physical drawing is way different. So what am I getting at here? The AI. I mean, I said this. Rebecca and I had a live event a couple of weeks ago in Belfast, and AI came up. Either it came up or I brought it up because I love talking about it. If you've used a calculator, you've used AI. So we're not talking about AI. We're not talking about artificial intelligence necessarily. If you've used Photoshop, if you've used AutoCAD, if you've used Revit, you've used a form of artificial intelligence, because there's so much AI in the back end of all those programs. You'd be a fool to not accept that. So it should never be a conversation about are you pro AI or anti AI. It's the generative AI tools, it's the large language models, I think is what I think we're talking about. And as jaded and as miserable as I can be about architecture, there's a magic in design. And AI can't replicate that. That's just my belief. AI as a tool can be useful. I mean, if I could get AI to just generate 100mm accurate AutoCAD drawings for me in a day, absolutely. But I don't want it to design a building and then do the drawings. Like, the architect should still be able to have the eye and the sensibility to guide the large language model or whatever tool it is that they use. That's my position now. But the one thing I'll say is that the tech has evolved so much over the last couple of years that I change my mind all the time, and I think that's okay. And I think there's nothing wrong with being against it today and being for it tomorrow. It's changing so quick. So, have I answered your question again, Sun Studio? Why should we not use it? Use it if you want. Use it if you want. There's no judgment here. Sorry, I'm getting really worked up. Need some water. How are we doing here, chat? Captain, I really appreciate you keeping the conversation going there with Isham. Thank you. 1 second. Where are we doing? How are we doing here? Joshua Gonzalez, welcome. I hate the ARC daily limit. As an undergrad student, this was the go-to for precedence. Now I can only view 3 projects. Joshua, because I asked this question already. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to ask it because I see that you've answered the question already down here, but I'm going to ask this question, everyone in the chat. ARC Daily, you can't be telling me that now that ARC Daily is a paid service, you no longer have access to architectural precedents. If I was your teacher, I would not buy it. I mean, I would not buy ARC Daily, but I would not buy that as an excuse. Guys, the books exist. The libraries exist. There has to be a library. There has to be a resource center. Pinterest is still free, isn't it? Instagram is great. Instagram is great. Like, you got to feed your algorithms correctly so that they give you the right stuff. I said it on a video recently, if you want to make good shit, you got to eat good shit. You got to feed yourself correctly. Have a good diet. Have a good diet of content. Make sure that your content diet is good and well balanced with a healthy portion of classic 20th century architectural masterpieces, because you can learn everything from those. Sorry, Joshua, I didn't mean to call you out there, but I'm not hearing it. Class, I'm not having it, class, okay? ARC Daily being paid is not an excuse now to not study architecture. The resources are out there. Even if you have to buy the book, it's valuable. Like, I have a ton of books, which ties me on to something. Someone asked me a question about Leverance. I have a whopping huge reference book of Leverance over there. It was actually a gift. It was given to me when I left Chipperfield. So it's like, I think it's a super expensive book. It's absolutely wonderful. I don't want to run over and grab it right now, but because I just got too many cables here. But huge fan. Like, I live in Sweden, so obviously I'm aware of Leverance. Visited a number of the projects. I think they're incredibly rich. I think they're incredibly interesting. In many ways, they're beautiful. In many ways, they're ugly. But I also, how do I say it? It's very much a type of architecture that can also be a little bit boring. And I say that as someone who made the pilgrimage to Malmo to study the flower shop and was heartbroken when he couldn't get a good photo because there was in fact a van delivering flowers outside the main facade, and I couldn't get a good photo for Instagram. So then all of a sudden I just was like, why am I standing in this cold, wet cemetery in the south of Sweden looking at bits of concrete waiting for a van to move? That's my thoughts on Leverance. It's not his fault. I mean, he designed it. It's a flower shop, I guess. So there you go. Amazing architect, though. Absolutely. Where am I here in the chat? We still have 21 people here. Amazing. I can't believe 21 people are here listening to me ramble, taking these questions. Yeah, okay. So Joshua Gonzalez, didn't mean to call you out. Guys, there's libraries. There's books. ARC Daily can't be the be-all and end-all of architecture references. I don't think I've ever went, I'm not done yet. I don't think I've ever went on ARC Daily and been like, whoa, look at that building. Like, there got to be other ways. And shame on you, ARC Daily. Shame on you. Where are we here? Esham, as a student, I have used AI, but more as a digital assistant. I think that's the way to do it. Like a personalized Google. Yeah. Sometimes fact checker, not always reliable, but pretty good. Joshua Gonzalez, yeah, my college has an architecture resource center with tons of detail magazine materials. There you go, my man. There you go. Um, Now, this isn't directed at you, Joshua, but like I say this all the time as well. Go outside, go for a walk. Like if you're at university, the likelihood is that you're designing a project in a site nearby. Just go look at buildings that are around it. Like I know that's not plans and sections, but ArcDaily cannot be the daddy of architectural resources these days. Elon, I never went to the library. I just bought second books, but I do miss my detail inspiration subscription from QUB. Oh man, the library is where it was at. Probably the saddest thing I'm going to say on this stream tonight. Just me and the big architecture books on a weekend. Pathetic. Good books though. Ishan, tactile feel of books over websites any day. I agree. Joshua, hey, I'm a fourth year student at Cal Poly, California. Wow, amazing. Yeah, Josh, I feel like I'm giving you a hard time about the book thing. What do you think of green building certificates such as LEED? I think they're good in theory. I don't know how useful they are in practice. But I know it's not the same thing, but I was speaking to someone recently who has their passive house certificate. And they're like, I did that training 2 years ago. Don't know why I did it. Don't know. So really, maybe it's like a nice have. Some clients might want it. I don't really know how I feel entirely about it. Joshua Gonzalez, again, Revit is a program for CDs, but Rhino is more for the design aspect. That's been my experience as well. I'm a big fan of Rhino. I really like Rhino actually. I've been using Blender now the last couple of years, which is great too. But yeah, I agree. Revit has its pros obviously, but it generates a certain type of architecture. That's my problem with it. FIFA Dabber, I get your point. I like visiting the library and getting books. We have a limit of 6 books at a time, and I can't always find brief, specific books. But I agree with you that more people need to use books. Yeah, this isn't how do you say this? This isn't I am not some high and mighty intellectual. Like I'm not the book guy. I love books, but I don't read them that often anymore. The older I've gotten. But the thing with architecture books is that you don't even really have to read them. Like they're like 95% images. So you just having your morning coffee and just browse and like post-its in them. Like most of my books, reference books, are filled with post-its. Come back to it later. Do a little trace over one of the sketches, reference in the bank. Great. Like the brain function of using the book as a reference is much more valuable than scrolling on your phone. But I know that's how it works today too. Like I'm the exact same. Like I get most of my content, architecture content now through my phone. And it's fine. Like it's there's no judgment. It's just it's kind of like I'll say this one last time. Oh, the internet's down. So I guess I can't. I'll never look at an architectural reference again. It's like, there's buildings, like you can. There's other ways. How are we doing here? Desan, we do get student licenses, but it's not taught to us. We have to learn on our own if we want to get up to the point of presentation. See, that's the thing, isn't it? You're self-taught, but then practices want architecture graduates with X amount of Revit experience. And in my opinion, which is the reason I made that video a couple of months ago, that's stupid. It's dumb. Because if an architecture practice only wants you for your ability to produce labor, like that's the only reason they want you, that's it. How fast you can hit the ground running for them to deliver drawings, packages for them. They don't really want you. They want a labor. They just want, I don't know if this term is PC or not anymore. Apologies. So please, CAD, monkey, CAD, Revit. What's the word? Baboon. I've heard millions of variations of it. We all know it, the CAD, whatever. That's not architecture. It's not. And it's why I make this joke all the time. And I love it because I'm not that funny. But when I make a joke and it hits, I'll make that joke 1,000 times. We had architecture before Revit. So this idea that we can now only do architecture with Revit is absurd. It's absurd. It's not true. Guys, it's not true. Like it's not. I was literally in Greece this weekend. I stood at the Parthenon and I was amazed at how engineers we're able to do that without AutoCAD because that's how warped our brains have become. Like, architecture is now just sponsored by Autodesk. When did that happen? That's all. Sorry, taking that one a bit far. But I was literally in Greece this weekend. It was fantastic. Really, really warm. Lots of sunburn. How are we doing here? Oh, good. Desan prefers Instagram over Pinterest just because the initial info is easier to access compared to Pinterest. Yeah, I don't really use Pinterest on my phone. Pinterest is more like a desktop app for me. Guys, 20 people here in the chat. Have we got more questions? Keep them going because we're going over an hour here now, and I'm happy to keep answering if we've got them coming in. How are we doing? Let's see. Danny, welcome, Danny. For the whole of my student life, I've tried to stay away from ArcDaily, but use diverse or real books. As a student anywhere that has a student email, Divisair is free. Danny, could you put a link to that in the chat just for people? Because, yeah, free is good. FIFA Dabber, Danny, I could only find Divisair after ArcDaily's limit, and I actually think it has projects of better value. Guys, there we go. Community here. Share the link, people, if you can. Danny, FIFA Dabber, share the link. Studio, welcome. What digital magazine do you use for construction details? I've never used a magazine for construction details. I've only ever used one book, and it is The Daddy. The Plazas. It's my favorite book. The Plazas. I can't grab it right now, but I'll just put it in here. Just amazing book. Love it. Drawings are beautiful. References are incredible. It's a little bit on like the high end, like it's Swiss at the end of the day. But yeah, great book. Never really was into the detailed journals. Generally, just never was interested in them that much. I mean, I'm interested in details. It's just the detailed journals just never interested me that much. How are we doing here? Keltia, welcome. Nice to see you in the chat. Should Ireland have a European democracy museum competition? I don't think I fundamentally agree with competitions. I don't think they're successful. I don't think they work the way they're supposed to. Can you elaborate a little bit, Celsius? Sorry, I'm pronouncing that terribly. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like, do you have what are your thoughts? Raha, it's not that bad. I just think they gave us so much other subjects that I get distracted out of design. Sense3, welcome to the chat. How do you feel about visual arc? You spelt that with a Q. How do you feel about visual arc? Is that like visual architecture, ArcViz, or is Arc a company? Celtia, you can run it paid. Yeah, if I could get paid to run a competition, then maybe that's a different story. Maybe all of a sudden I love architecture competitions. I actually sent you a DM today about having a call. We can have a chat 100% because I know that that's long overdue. And Rebecca and I have been in touch too. So 100%. But I don't know how I feel about competitions. That's what I think about it right now. Danny has shared the link to Divisary. Great. Eshan, hot take, architectural intellects overthink. We should learn more from vernacular architecture. Some overthink. I don't know. Maybe. I'm an overthinker. I don't consider myself an intellectual architect, but I also believe all architects are intellects. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm saying here. FIFA Dabber. I get that sometimes my other modules distract. Sorry, you guys are having a chat. I don't need to read out your chat. Danny, I don't believe it's a hot take at all, but there is the problem of faulty vernacular architecture. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can't be the only thing, can it? Maybe. Sense3, no, it's a Rhino plugin that makes Rhino BIM-like. I highly suggest you check it out. That sounds cool, actually. But isn't what Grasshopper then isn't BIM? No, because isn't Grasshopper the parent of Rhino? I used Rhino for years, but I didn't use it with any other plugin other than V-Ray, I guess. Oh, Celtia, when are you going on RTE? Soon? When will they have me? Let's set it up. My dad would love it if I was on RTE for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons, of course. But let's see. I have skipped a question here. Apologies. Sorry, I've missed a lot here. I've missed a few. Sorry about that. 18 in the chat. We're still doing good. If you're here and you haven't said hello, jump on. Oh, Sun Studio. I understood the point of the video. No problem. You're very good at triggering people, but I mean in a good way. We need more like this in architecture. You're doing very good. Thank you, Sun Studio. I think that's the thing that I struggle with the most since I started making content, actually. People get upset with my videos. And I don't actually ever set out to upset people. I just set out to sort of say what I feel in the way that I think I can do it best. And I don't want to lie, and I don't want to sell a version of the profession that I don't think exists. And I just say what I think. And I do know that I trigger people, but I don't mean for it to be rage bait. And I think I've made 2 videos in this last year that I would describe as rage bait. And my wife called me out on it, and I took them down, and I'm not doing it again. Because it's bad energy, and it's very, very, very addictive to make rage bait when you're trying to grow. And we've seen that over the last few years. It's very, very easy to do, and I don't want to do it. It's not how I want to grow. So I don't want to make rage bait. But I do want to entertain, and I do want to talk about what I love talking about, and I do want to share my passions, and I do want to talk about Revit because it really annoys me. Sorry, I am missing so much chat here. Studio, hello, Revitator. Nice to meet you. Fernando Almedo Riviera, hello, listening to this while at work. My man, I hope it is not 9 o'clock where you are. But if it is, solidarity, I feel you. I have been there. Where are we? Ahmed, hello, hello. Hello, I am a fresh graduate and I was wondering if the line between the architect and the technician is disappearing, as every interview in my country in Egypt starts with the software you use. This is what I've been talking about. Now, I have nothing but respect for architecture technicians. In many ways, they know much more about buildings than most architects. Nothing but respect. But I have found in my experience, and it's the reason I made that reel a couple of months ago, or it's a TikTok. Why are you expecting your part 1 new graduate to have 30 different software packages in their tool belt? That's ridiculous. What is that about? So I think I agree with what you're saying, Ahmed. I've noticed that. I think it's a way for big practices to get more value. Because at the end of the day, and I've also made reels and TikToks about this, yeah, you're hired because of your design, but you're not really hired because of your design, are you? Because you're 21 and you don't know how to design. You're only showing your talent and your potential to employers. You don't know how to design until you do it. And that could be 10 years since from graduation. Not for everyone. Some people are doing it earlier, but what I'm getting at is, I don't know, it's tricky. It's tough. I hear this is a particularly difficult job market right now. Really, really tough. So glad I'm not unemployed. That's all I'll say. And that was a joke. Depends on how you look at it. Sorry, Amit. I hope that's helpful. Where are we here? Vibing person has returned. Yes, that's the symbolic aspect I was talking about, rather than letting a person walk through or immerse themselves in the culture using the architectural details. I agree. I think projects like the ones we're discussing lack subtlety. Rebecca and I had a really interesting conversation recently about Ireland, and how this is my opinion, and anyone disagrees, that's fine. But I would like to see a version of Ireland where we move away just a little bit from the tourists' perception of Ireland and Irish people. I love Guinness, okay? But Irish people aren't Guinness. Do you see what I mean? Like, that irritates me. I love St. Patrick's Day, but we are more than St. Patrick's Day. I love green, but we don't all just wear green. That's what I'm getting at, and I think what you're describing, vibing person, is that a lot of architects who come from abroad or work in different cultures and different territories, sometimes the default go-to thing is to try and almost somehow co-opt that culture and translate it into a piece of architecture. And a really good example of this, and I don't mean to be mean about this, but the Helsinki competition, the alto vase. Now I don't know, but I bet 623 entries, 150 to 200 either referenced the alto vase or directly translated that vase into a piece of architecture for their proposal. So let's say 200, okay? I would say 150 of them weren't finished. Weird, right? I'm just speculating, could be wrong. But I think architects have a responsibility to be a bit more subtle about those things. Where am I here in the chat? Azer PC. Hey man, that short film is insane shit. Can you bless us with a bit of behind the scenes or process stuff? That'd be cool. Azer, thank you very much. The short film that you're talking about is Innis Nua, which is an 8-minute architectural animated short film now available for your viewing pleasure on this channel. So go check it out after this live stream. Rebecca and I worked incredibly hard on it. It is a future blueprint production, but it's currently on my channel because there are some red tape and sticky things related to licenses. But the plan is to also release it on the future blueprint, and Rebecca and I will do a breakdown on it. We're also open to speaking about it. I think we're going to be going to some universities this year to speak about it, which is exciting. To present it, play it, do a Q&A panel. We did one in Belfast 2 weeks ago. It was amazing, super, super fun. If you have any more questions, or just hit me up in the chat. I don't know what else to say right now because it's a bit hard to talk about it without it being visible here. But yeah, I mean, I think architects should make films. That's just I love filmmaking, and it was fun to make, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, and thank you for the kind words. Celtia, again, maybe you could channel your cemetery sketch into the former cemetery at Hogan Green. Why is the Irish media a closed shop? That's interesting, isn't it? Irish media. It's funny because I say this to Rebecca all the time. I'm an Irish architect and I've never practiced. I practiced in Ireland once. When I was a part two, I was hired by my tutor for a summer. That was good fun. But the Irish architecture scene, I don't know it too deeply. Rebecca would know more about it than I would. So in terms of the Irish media being a closed shop, I don't know. I actually have some friends who work in media in Ireland. Maybe I should ask them. But we will talk about this, okay? Absolutely. I will give you a call and we will talk because we need to set that meeting up. 17 back in the chat. If you've just joined, come say hello. Get your questions in. Where are we here? Raha, I want to rant a bit about my work. My school projects have all been experimental, funky, and half complete. I'm afraid that's going to affect my portfolio afterwards. What do you suggest? My portfolio was funky and incomplete, and I ended up working everywhere I wanted to work. So I don't know what the lesson is there. I don't know. All student projects are incomplete. They are. It's different if drawings are incomplete, but the project will always be incomplete. So don't let it hold you back. I'm moving up and down here. How are we doing, people? How are we doing? Yeah, Grasshopper is more parametric. That's what I was thinking of. I did a course in Grasshopper years ago, and I didn't really like it. It wasn't for me because ultimately generating a type of architecture that isn't really my taste, as fun and cool as it is. KNG, welcome to the chat. Why are we, as a society, so obsessed with time? What are we trying to reach? What's the end goal? Life is already so fast-paced, and now we want to accelerate it even more with AI. Deep question, not necessarily architecture related, but in many ways everything is architecture related. I saw something recently about our society's obsession with efficiency and how we need to sort of unwind that. It's because it's taking us to the edge. Yeah, I agree. It's strange, isn't it? I think about it constantly every day. I'm convinced I'm constantly wasting time, and it stresses me out. And I wonder if this is a generational thing. KNG, I don't know what age you are, obviously, but I think it's a generational thing. I think it's our generation have that. We just think there's never enough time. We think we're way older than we are. Everything just feels like it's just running out. Deep. It is deep. I'm not even joking about it, but I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. Speaking of time, we're at 1 hour 30. We've still got 15 people here. I have a few more questions to go. But guys, I'm gonna call it now. This is your last chance to get the questions in for this one. But do not fear, because I'm gonna do this one again. This isn't gonna be 4 months. I'm gonna disappear. Okay, I'm gonna be back. Hopefully next week. I'm gonna do this every Thursday. Every Thursday. And if it's not gonna be one of these and it's gonna be a gaming stream, I'll let you know. Okay. But right now, the game, the name of the game is I'm going to do this once a week. CRUMCAST is going to be a weekly Thursday show. As long as you keep showing up, and I appreciate it, and you're engaging super well in the chat, and I love it. So thank you. So this is your call. This is your final call, okay? We're at the pub now. I'm ringing the bell. Get your questions in now. Last questions in now, and I'm going to get through them, and we're going to wrap it up, okay? Because this has been good fun. But if you keep asking questions, I'm going to be here all night. Speaking of time running out, what a segue. How are we doing here? Desan, I think the issue is the discouragement of less undergraduate level vernacular documentation that's digestible. Most of my lectures recommend vernacular precedents and it all goes over my head. Desan, what do you mean specifically when you say vernacular? Do you mean local architecture to you, like in your context where you are? Just so I can understand that. FIFA Dabber 01, since you sketch on iPad, do you have any tips to make sure you are working to scale on Procreate? Yes. You can lock the grid, so you can set up a grid. Apologies if I'm telling you something super basic. In FIFA Dabber, could you reply to this? Because I've been thinking about this. Would you guys be interested in some Procreate tutorials? Because I could just bang out a few really quickly on this channel. I love Procreate. I've been using it for about 5 years now. You can draw to scale in it. There's a few ways to do it. I can show how to do it. But there's a grid. That's one way of doing it. You can use the grid overlay. The other way of doing it is you could import a scale bar from another drawing. But I would not encourage you to do an architectural drawing in Procreate. I would recommend you use Morpholio Trace. Much, 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 much better for doing drawings at scale, in my experience. So I hope that helps. Fernando Almeida Riviera, are you planning on doing a video on the short list of projects for the Helsinki competition? Fernando, I went off on one about this earlier. I'm really, really bored with Helsinki. It's been a lot of work. But I do owe you guys that last video. So what I think I will do is I will do the final 5 reviews in one video. It'll be as long as it is. I will speak about the 5 of them. I will give them what they deserve, the time and attention they deserve. And then that will probably be it on Helsinki because I'm just tired of it. And I want the channel to grow into something a bit more broad. But we'll see. But I do want to do it. I do want to do it. Celtia, if you could change architecture school program course, what would you change? If I could change one thing about it, this is the first thing that comes off the top of my head. From the very beginning, I would try to find some form of, maybe it's a site problem, maybe it's a budget problem. I feel like live project experience should be accessible to students from day one. Whether that's a specific module that you volunteer to be part of, site experience, some form of building a thing, the act of taking your idea from a piece of paper and manifesting it as a physically built object that exists in the world and in society and in a city is critical. And the faster an architect, young architect, can get that experience, and I'm not talking about a real building, it can be a pavilion, it can be a little structure, it can be anything. But the faster a student can get that experience, the faster they can work out if it's for them. Because I think a lot of architecture schools keep architects, young architects, in the studio where they're designing these wonderfully ambitious, I call them chocolate flavored algorithm factories on the moon. And they go into the real world and they get slapped across the face in the first job they work for. first job they get, because they don't know how to do a planning application. So there's a huge disconnect between the school system, the education and practice. And for the record, my heart belongs in school. I loved architecture school, but if I could change one thing, there needs to be a tether, a much stronger tether or link between the two. It's a huge, 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 huge problem, in my opinion and in my experience. So if I could change one thing, that would exist. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's a big problem. Getting to the end here, guys. How are we doing? Thanks for getting the last questions in. Really appreciate it. Okay, question. Do you like Le Corbusier? I do. I do. I think he's becoming a bit of a meme now in the canon amongst young students. Like, there's something funny now about Le Corbusier. Don't quite know what it is. I have to say, though, I don't think I've ever visited a single one of his projects. So I don't actually know if I actually like the work, but I do love the photographs and the drawings and the documentaries that I've seen of the work. Him as a personality, not a fan. I think a lot of his ideas were terrible, but I do like, in theory, quite a lot of the stuff that he's famous for. So I think I do like him. Studio, they told me I am hired because of my design, and I lied them about my Revit skills. Going to start work on December. Studio, I don't know if that was a joke or not, but that is not a good idea. That is not a good idea. And so many people do it. But if you show up and they legit don't care about your design skills and they want you working on a Revit model and you don't know how to use it, you could be in for a hard time. So if you've got until December, I would take the next couple of months, get yourself a Revit course, familiarize yourself, do it. I don't mean to scare you though. FIFA Dabber, I personally look to form or architectural elements, like how a style of solar shading was done, to avoid copying. Oh, sorry, you were replying to someone else's comment. Guys, I really appreciate you replying to one another's comments, because this is brilliant, because I'm missing things. So this is good. Everyone's getting their questions answered. We're back to 16 in the chat. Welcome. This is your last chance for questions. Ishan, always lie about your Revit skills. Guys, do not lie about your Revit skills. Do not lie about your Revit skills. Okay? Do not lie about your skills. Because I know everyone does it. I know everyone does it. I'm telling you, don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Ishan, talking about films, I tried watching Architecting and absolutely hated it. I feel it's so exclusive and pretentious for no reason. Amazing visuals, regardless, though. Yeah. But sometimes if you enjoy the visuals, that's okay. I mean, not everything has to be plot. Celtia, I entered an international competition, made a Last Supper scene, and put Oscar Niemeyer as Jesus with the judges at the table. He died as the competition was being judged. Zaha was shortlisted. That's a cool story. Very interesting. I love a good war story, especially ones where Zaha is somehow related to it. Sense 3, no, like, really, please note down visual arc and check it out. Like, this shit saved me, for real. I will do. Do you have a link for it? Have you put a link for it in here, Sense? Do that if you can. Where are we doing? Procreate tutorials, please. Yes, please. I would love Procreate tutorials. Absolutely. Guys, I'm on it. The YouTube thing is happening proper now. Okay. So I've been doing R&D for about a year, been doing the Helsinki series, been testing different things, but it's legit happening now. It's coming now. So I'm going to start delivering on the promises. Where are we? How are we doing? Guys, we're almost at the end. That's sort of it. Guys, for the 16 of you that are still here, do me a favor, okay? If you haven't done it yet, please, please, please do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Like this stream. And when the video goes up, like, subscribe, share. Do me a favor, please. The last question for tonight. Studio, can you hire me? I know Revit. Studio, you're a liar, okay? I already know you don't know Revit. But maybe because you don't know Revit, I might hire you. Don't know. Don't know how we're going to get around this one. Studio, I feel like you've put me in a jam here now. A jam. I mean, I wouldn't hire myself. Put it that way. Guys, CRUMCAST Ep.002. It's over. It's over. We're good. We're done. This has been a lot of fun. 1 hour, 41 minutes. Celtia, if you're still here, get back to me, DM. We'll talk, okay? We'll absolutely talk. Everyone else, I hope you enjoyed this. If you missed out on your question, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to do this next week. Thanks, Ashan, for the nice comment. Thanks, everybody, for your nice comments. Guys, last chance, please. Sub to the channel. CRUMCAST is going to be a regular thing, okay? So we're going to do this weekly now. Thanks for everything. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for everything. All the best, guys. Have a good night. Good luck with your studies. Good luck with practice. Over and out. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.